We now recognize gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for Director Chopra for being here with us today. Let's talk about medical debt. The state of Texas has the highest rate of uninsured working age adults in the country, in part due to the state government and the governor that refuses to comply with federal law to expand Medicaid. Most of my constituency is severely under or unbanked and do not have the upfront capital to pay for healthcare costs, leaving many with medical debt. The ding on their credit report for medical debt, which is not an accurate measure, as you know, of credit risk, also means it's harder for them to access traditional sources for credit, like bank loans and credit cards. I was excited to learn of the proposal announced in September of this year by the CFPB that would address this issue head on. If this goes into effect, could you outline the steps for CFPB, the steps they would take to ensure their credit-worthy consumers are not unduly prevented from attaining credit or even a job simply because the debt they owe or the debt they owe from a loved one who has gotten sick?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think really our lodestar on this has been the real challenges of accuracy. And again, I mentioned to your colleagues, it's not like a normal loan. And it's often a bill that is put on your credit report. And you mentioned uninsured, but a lot of the issues are even people with insurance. There's many parties. There's provider, there's facility, there's insurance company, there's patient, there's debt collector, there's credit reporting agency. And over many years, I think there's been consensus that there's extremely limited predictive value of this. And given the inaccuracies, you worry a lot that people, when they're applying for a job or credit, are just paying something that they don't owe. So the big credit reporting conglomerates, they have taken some steps, but we are looking about whether we might propose a rule to address it more directly. And we're currently collecting feedback from small entity representatives on that, and that will inform any proposed rule.
I can't agree with you more, and thank you for these steps you're taking. Also, as you know, in 2012, the CFPB implemented its remittances rule, requiring companies that offer remittances to provide consistent disclosure regarding the price of a transfer before consumers make payments. While the remittances rule created essential protections for millions of immigrants, service members, students, and others who send money to other countries, providers have found ways to get around it. According to consumer and immigration groups, U.S. consumer loses approximately $8.7 billion a year due to hidden fees, or they sometimes change it on their exchange rates and recover it in the other country. In June of 2023, you testified before this committee and recognized this issue, like with my colleague, Mr. Vargas, has stated in the past. He calls them junk fees, which I agree. And they've impacted our constituents who send remittances to their families abroad. The money earned by these hardworking people should not be lost to hidden fees or extra fees, but go to their families. So I ask, what is CFPB doing to protect consumers and ensure hidden fees aren't being folded into exchange markup rates? Is there a plan in place to prevent remittances providers from continuing this practice?
Yeah, so we have taken a number of actions against providers that have egregiously violated the law on this front. But I think there is this question of how will a consumer be able to get a competitively priced remittance? You know, they are paying for it. And when you're looking at multiple levers, you know, the exchange rate, sometimes there's an advertisement where it says free, you know, when it's really not free. That's what we're really focused on, making sure we're seeing if that is working or not. You know, there's a lot of other places where people may have options on sending remittances that they may not even be aware of. So we're looking at all of that.
Yeah, certainly things have improved since the 90s, but the concern is whoever their partners are in the receiving
other
country.
side.
You're right, and I know from Mexico for sure, they get shortchanged on the exchange rate, and I think that's happening around the world. So thank you for the work you're doing, and we hope that you continue looking into this issue that impacts millions of people here and around the world.
Appreciate
Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman